In the previous video, we have seen how to use database first approach. In this video, I will show you how to use code first approach. This is another approach which we use to work with the database with our MVC application. So this is an important approach because many developers will use this approach in most of the applications. So first of all, what is meant by this code first approach? So if you remember earlier, database first approach is nothing but first of all there will be a database created and there are some tables created in that database, and then we will connect this database to our MVC application with the help of ADO.NET Entity Model. And in this case, in this code first approach, we will create the database and tables through our application only. Like first of all, we will create the classes, and then we will debug the application, give the connection string, and then we will debug the application. Then all the classes we have created in the application will be converted as database and table. So if you remember in database first approach, for example, database first approach, in database first approach, we have created a database and some tables. But in the case of code first approach, it is totally opposite. If you see, code first approach is nothing but we will create the classes, and we will create a DB context class. So when we debug this application, the classes will be converted into tables, and the name which will we provide in the DB context class, that will be the name of the database. So when we debug the application, the MVC application, the classes will be converted into tables. So now let us see how to use this code first approach. So I will show you in the Visual Studio by creating an MVC application from the start. So now let us see. I will open Visual Studio 20. In this case, I am using this Visual Studio IDE. Visual Studio 20. So you can see here, first of all, click on create a new project. And then you can see here you have to select the C# as the programming language, and you have to select the Windows, because this .NET framework will not work on other platforms like Mac OS or Linux. It will only work on Windows platform. So I'm using you have to select this web, and now you can see that ASP.NET Core Web Application. And now here you have to select, we are using framework, so you have to search for the ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. So you have to select this ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. Like in the previous video, I have shown how to add this ASP.NET packages to create an MVC application. So if you don't know how to, if you cannot see this in this search bar, then you can refer the video which I have uploaded earlier, and you will know how to add those packages. So then click on the next. So here you have to provide a project name, like I will provide code first approach MVC. In the project name there should not be any spaces, just remember this, and then click on create. So here you have to we are going to do an application in MVC, so you have to select this MVC and untick this configure for HTTPS box, and then click on create. So the project is now getting created. So if you see, I have not created any database or any tables before creating this application. So just remember the steps how we are going to do this code first approach. So the application is ready. So now here you can see the models folder, here you can see the controller folder, and here you can see the web.config. These are the important ones for our code first approach. So now first of all, what I said, we have to create the classes. Like I will add, click on new item, and then here select a code and then class. So provide a name for the class, like in this case I'm going to take an employee and click on add. So public class employee, and I will write some entities data members like public int, and then we will take employee designation. So for in every table there will be definitely there should be a primary key. So here we specify ID as a primary key. For that here I will mention as key. So here you can see this key will, if you see any error while using this key, you remember that we need to definitely add this namespace, that is using system.component model dot data annotations. So after this now I have successfully created a class employee, and then now the main important thing is I have to create a data context class. That is, in the data context class we will provide the database name. So we will specify these tables, these classes in the data context class, so that it will be easy to work with the tables in the database. So now I have to add a data context class. So remember, if you here I will show you a simple way to add a data context class, like see the steps. Definitely for every application you will add a controller. So when you are adding a controller, for suppose I am adding here an entity MVC5 controller with views using entity framework. So it will be easy. If we use this, the code will be generated automatically, like the scaffolding will be done. And so for now I am using this, and click on add. And in the model class, just select this employee class which I have created now. And if you see, there is no data context class generated because we have not created any data context class. If you use database first approach, automatically a data context class will be created by the application itself. So now because there is no data context class, we can create manually on the same like how we created a class. We can create the data context class. And in the other way, you click on this plus symbol. So here you can see this a new data context type. If you add this, a new data context class will be created. So if you see, uh, so I will remove this and just I will give as db context. So if you see this and just click on add. Oh, I have forgotten to build the application. Remember, it is required to build the application before you are adding a controller. So I will rebuild the solution. So the build successful. And now I will add a controller using entity framework. Add, select the class, and select there is no data context. So here I will just mention it as db and click on add. Click on add. And the scaffolding will be done. So if you see here, a new folder got added in the name data, and there is a class created db context. So if you want for suppose, okay, you can, if you change this, you can also create this data context class in this models folder. It is not a problem. And if you see this class db context, here you can see the public class db context, it is inheriting from the base class, that is db context. If you see this, go to class definition, go to definition. Here you can see about the matter about this db context class. So it is very important, and just go through this. And here you can see that in the name of db context, the database will be created. So for suppose I will show you under for suppose I will delete this controller, and I will show you, I will delete this folder, and I will add this in this models folder. So same process. First of all, build the solution, and then click on right click on the controller, add controller, And in this case I am adding a MVC5 controller with views using entity framework. You can also add this both of the above as per your requirement and click on add. Then the model class, just click on employee class which I have created now, and in the data context class just click on the place, and in the case of this class name I will give a data first approach context MVC context. I will just leave it this as it is, and here I will change the name. This is the folder name data, so I will just mention here as models. If you mention here the folder name as models, this class will be created in the this models folder. So let's see, and just click on add. So if you see now, there is a class created, db context class created in the models folder. So if you click on this, this is the class which is created and it is inheriting from the db context class. And if you see here, this is an constructor which is a base, and here it is the database name. This is the database name which will be created. So, and you can see here it another step, public the system.data.entity db set employees. This line is purely because we need to work with the help of this line we can work with the employee table which is present in this database. So now if I run this application, so I'm going to the controller and click on, if I debug the application, so you will see the database will be created. The database and a table called employee will be created. So here, for the MVC, the routing will be controller and then view name. So the controller name in our application is employees. So mention the correct controller name as it is. So and then for suppose create. This is a controller and this is the view. So if you see, there is a view automatically generated because of the scaffolding. Here you can see these are the views that are got created. Create, delete, details, edit, index. Any of the one you can use, and for now I'm using create. If I am mentioning this URL, you can see, for suppose if you see, I'm entering some details. So now you can see if I click on create, the data will be stored in the data table. So you see the data displaying here because there is a table got created and the data is fetching from the table through our application. So important step you need to remember is that if you go to this application, if you go to this web.config file, here a connection string will be generated. If you see this connection string, okay, I will show you. Here you can see the connection here in this configuration, and in the configuration there's a connection strings in the angular brackets open and close. Add name db context, this is the first class which I have created and deleted, so just I can remove this. So so in my case I have added, to make it easy, I have added data context class. I have created data context class while adding a controller. So if you create a data context class manually, then you need to specially go to this web.config file, and then you need to specially mention here, like this add name. Here you need to provide the name, and then you need to provide the connection string. Connection string means our database connection string, and I will show you where this connection string will be available, and this is the format, and in the provider name sql.data.sql client. This is an important line, everyone should remember this. You should not make any mistake here. If any mistake done here, then the whole application will not work. So now I will show you the database which got created. So for that I am opening this SQL Server Management Studio. So connect to the database, and if you see here, click on databases, and for suppose refresh the database. Wait a second. So SQL Server Object Explorer, if you see this in the databases, here you can see, because this is the connection string I have provided here. If you go to this view and then go to this SQL Server Object Explorer, you can see here there is a database created, code first approach MVC context. Because it is not created in this SQL, because the connection string name is local db ms SQL local db. So here a database got created, and if you see this database, I will show a table will be created. What is the table? This dbo.employees means this is the table which got created. So here you can see that. And for suppose I will click on new query, just I will click on new query, and here you will just select this code first, and then 1 second. So just leave this and you can check here, there is no problem. If you provide your database or your connection string correctly, then you can see there also. And here I can just select start from what is the table name, dbo.employees. Just on this, here you can see the details which I have added, that is ID 1 Pravesh, employee salary 40,000, developer. So if you go to our application where, and if I edit this and click on this salary as 50,000 and the designation as analyst, so click on save, see the details got successfully edited. So if you execute this again, here you can see the updated value 50,000 and the updated designation analyst. So I can also delete. If I delete, see if I execute this again, see the values got deleted. So this is how we can do the code first approach in a simple way. So in this you need to remember, the important points you need to remember is uh, the connection string which we need to check thoroughly, connection string, and creating db context class. So that's it in this video. Thank you. If you like the video, subscribe.